On a summer day, in an open ground near a big old banyan tree, there were this group of kids playing cricket. The sun was blazing upon them, but that couldn't stop the kids from playing. After a tiring match, everyone leaves except for one kid, who was looking for some place to just sit and relax before he would go home. At a corner, not so far away from where he was, there was this low, average sized shed, under which an old man was sitting. The old man had been observing them play cricket like he always did, and now was looking at the kid who was slowly approaching towards him. The kid comes and sits under the shed. A smile instantly comes upon the old man's face, knowing that there was company for him under that always lonely shed. The kid leaves after a few minutes. Thereafter, pretty much every day, he would come, play cricket, spend some time under the shed, and then leave home. The old man always offered him shelter. They never did talk, but that couldn't stop the old man from creating a bond with the kid, just for the very simple reason that he gave him company for a few minutes. After a few months, on a scorching hot day in the middle of the afternoon, at the open ground, the old man was sitting under the shed as always. And then he sees the kid again, who was walking towards him and had a stone in one hand and a bag in the other. The old man was confused, not knowing what was up with the kid. He stops walking a few meters ahead of the shed, opens the bag and puts it down, only to realize that there were stones filled in it. Without saying a word, he starts throwing the stones straight at the old man. The old man screams out in pain as the stones hit him and shouts at the kid saying, "अरे पागल हो गया क्या? मुझे क्यों मार रहा है?" But the kid kept going. Only that now he started throwing the stones with a greater velocity. The old man's outburst turned into pleading. बूढ़ा हूँ यार, थोड़ा तो तरस खाओ। कम से कम ये तो बताओ कि मुझे मार क्यों रहे हो? और तुझे देने के लिए भी मेरे पास ये शेड की छाया के अलावा और क्या ही है? But then too, he kept going. It was as if he was deaf to the old man's cries. The old man then observes that though a few stones were hitting him, the kid's actual target was a honey beehive, which was very near the old man, just hanging by that low shed. A few stones hit the beehive but couldn't do much of a damage to it. And then a relatively big stone comes flying straight towards the beehive and it crashes to the ground. The honey is oozing out, the beehive is in pieces, and the bees which have survived the crash start coming out of it. The kid, without a second thought, races straight towards the beehive, picks up as much of it as he could in his arms, and dashes off towards the exit gate of the ground. The bees which were still left in the part being carried start coming out of it and sting him badly on his arms. The pain is exhilarating, but then too he still continues to carry the hive, and in a few moments he's out of the ground. The old man who had been watching all this couldn't understand what was happening. Why was the kid doing what he was doing? All that was ever going through his mind right now was, I gave him company whenever he needed it. I gave him shelter whenever he needed it. And this is how he repays my favor? What did those bees do? All they ever did was build that beehive with their own hard work and their own perseverance. Now, he destroyed all of it in a snap. Well, maybe the beehive can be rebuilt again, but what about those lives of the bees which were lost during the crash? How can they be rebuilt? At least, what did he get from doing all this? Maybe a tiny amount of honey, but at the cost of having bee stings all over his body? All he ever got or gave others by doing all this was pain.